change your life. Yes, on KBLA Talk 1580. Oh yes, you gotta be hungry. I'll be looking for you.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
So tonight I'm going to talk about the second distortion, dukkha and sukha. And as you probably know, dukkha is often translated as suffering, but it's also discomfort, something that's unsatisfactory or painful, just not quite right, not fulfilling our wishes. And then sukha is happiness. And this pair is different from the other three pairs. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Pali. So if you look at the first one, impermanent and permanent. So permanent, the word in parentheses is nicca. And when you put it...
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason has returned to KBLA Talk 1580 with an important discussion, because some people think that the African American woman is to blame for the problems in our community. Now, I've got a topic, but I was urged to speak on it, and this is a broader topic. See, the topic that I walked in here with is called My Answer is No. A deeper look at why my social and intimate battery life is low. See, sometimes you could be around your friends and your loved ones and struggle, right? Your social and intimate battery. Like, oh God, I love my woman, but the talking. Or my friends, I don't feel like going out tonight. I don't want to be a part of no mess. Now, in a healthy relationship, we should be able to give each other space. I played the clip at the top of this show. That was a Buddhist monk explaining the difference between dukkha and sukha. These are Sanskrit, Pali, Tibetan terms that represent something. Sukha in Pali and Sanskrit means happiness, pleasure, ease, joy, bliss. But there is an opposite to sukha, which is the Sanskrit and Pali word and Tibetan word dukkha. Dukkha, some people say, means suffering. In Pali and Sanskrit, su means good, favorable, pleasurable, bliss. Su. Ka means space. Sukha, good space. Dukkha, bad space. Any healthy, progressive, and expanding relationship needs good space. But when you bring your baggage, when you bring your unhealed wounds, when you bring your toxicity into the relationship, it tends to create what the Buddhist monks would call dukkha, suffering, disappointment, dissatisfaction, right? Pain, right? It's bereft of all of what good space can create. Sukha, dukkha, du meaning bad, that's du, and ka, bad space. Many of us in our friendships and in our intimate relationships, because we haven't confronted what we've been through, right, creates bad space for our relationship. So now it makes it difficult to tell your partner no when you really want to say no. Why? Because the relationship will be in jeopardy if you tell them no. Just outright no. You know what? I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. I'm not in alignment with that. Yes, you might like it, but I, in particular, don't care for it. Then the questions arise, well, shouldn't you sacrifice and shouldn't you compromise? Sure, sometimes, maybe. But the reality of it is, if you love me, you wouldn't ask me to do something that is not in alignment with my truth. True or false? A healthy relationship / marriage is one where you can tell your partner no without retaliation. Can you handle being told no by your significant other? See, no for many people has a negative connotation that says if you tell me no, you don't really want me. And because we live in a transactional society, it's also an indicator that may tell your partner, listen, if you say no, there's somebody else out there who will say yes. See, we live in a toxic society. And I've been banging that beat ever since I sat down in this seat. Yes, we live in a toxic society. And what I'm tired of seeing is black men blaming sisters for how they express their toxicity, as if black men aren't toxic in the same way or in a different way or express that toxicity differently than sisters. We got to stop blaming each other. We have to detox from the definitions that were not authored by our community. The definitions of what? The definitions of this oppressive society. Both brothers and sisters have been made toxic by this toxic society. And now fear and ego permeate our relationship decisions. Oh, I don't want to be lonely. I'd rather have this toxic person than to be by myself and detox from my own toxicity. So I better not tell them no. We got imbalanced ideas about relationships. Oh, this person is supposed to fulfill your needs. Wrong. All your real needs are internal, and only you can fulfill those needs. And guess what? There's no clear-cut answer to heal this community. Let's go back to the 60s and the 50s when the man led the house. My grandfather, Samuel Walker Sr., beat the crap out of my grandmother. She had 11 children for him. The first one died, making my mama the oldest. They were married. See, some people are under the misnomer that marriage is a perfect, they say a perfect union, a perfect form of relationships. Don't you know marriage could be worthless if you ain't done no internal work? See, Granddaddy Sam was strong. This man will tear a truck down and build it back up and pull out the carburetor and take it apart and put some WD-40 on it, put it back together, and now we back on the road. But he was abrasive. He was harsh. He was mean. That's why there's a rift between my uncles and my aunts. My aunts was like, not the way he treated my mama. But my uncles are like, but that's my daddy. So we're going to act like this society's toxicity didn't exist then. See, just because you married don't mean you whole. It doesn't mean you're healed. If you look at all the fear-based decisions you make, like fear of saying no to your partner, fear of telling the truth to your partner, fear of being your true self around your partner. This is all born out of the fear of I'm going to be left, I'm going to be lost, ain't nobody going to take me. Please understand, relationship is more spiritual than it is social. And yes, our sisters are raising 70% of our kids by themselves. And yes, our sisters do make some bad decisions. But you need to understand, there are some good single mothers out there. We got to stop putting a blanket license on women like that. It did take a man to make a single woman, didn't it? I mean, somebody help me understand. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody get to the phone lines and join this conversation. Doesn't it take a man to make a single woman, to make a single mother, excuse me? Doesn't it take a man's participation? And yes, some men will say, oh, she ran me off. Can a man run you off from the love you should have for your children? Damn what she got going on. You they daddy. The great comedian Ricky Smiley lost his 32-year-old son. And he put that clip up with his son saying, you my daddy. Daddy's job ain't never done. Every time I get in trouble, I'm coming to see my daddy. And before the clip goes off, you hear Ricky Smiley say, that's what I'm here for. Isn't it a sign of strength, brother, to stay connected to your children, to stay invested to your children, to love on your children despite the condition of the relationship you have with their mother? This is not letting their mother off the hook, by the way, because you know I'm fair and balanced over here. Mothers do all types of wild things. And to me, it is born out of living in a toxic aquarium called America. So when you hear me quote the great Krishnamurti, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society. One of the metastasized actions that sisters take is leaving a state without the permission of the father. Leaving a jurisdiction. Did you know you can have a child? Say you can have a child in Northern California, but then move to Southern California and be with the father. Do you know you can leave Southern California back to Northern California, and that father has 6 months to respond? If he doesn't respond in 6 months, you get to keep the baby. He can challenge you having custody because you live with him. He can go to the child support office and say, a month ago she left. They'll say, good. I'm glad you responded within the 6-month window. Yes, there are some toxic things that women do, but that toxicity is born out of the toxicity of the environment they were raised in and the environment of the culture as a whole. They're toxic just like we toxic. So to put the whole onus on the backs of black women is a half-truth. Let's not sit here and make it seem like the way it was before was perfect. Huh? Let's not sit here and act like the way it was before was perfect. Granddaddy was abusive to my grandmama. My father was abusive to my mother. And not only my mother, but he was abusive to my siblings because their father was somewhere else. My mother was married to their father. They broke up. You understand? And my father came in, and my father immediately began to mistreat my siblings. My siblings hate my father. They hate him to death. My father had a woman who lived behind the project building that my mother stayed in. That was his woman. And her mandate was to watch my mama to make sure that she had no other men come in. Huh? Let's not act like back in the day was better. Back in the day had its problems too. Listen, when I come forward, we want to talk about how all of these fears manifested. Why is my answer no? Why? I'm going to tell you no right now. Huh? We got to deal with the toxicity, a deeper look at my social and intimate battery life. When we come forward, you already know the topic is on fire.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here at McKay's Family Mortuary, we offer a full line of services with a fine selection of caskets and urns. Also, assistance with cemeteries along with luxury limousine and funeral coaches and other needs pertaining to your family's wishes for your loved one. We accept Veterans Victim Witness Program for mortuary services only at zero cost to you. Cemetery selection does not apply. All insurances are accepted. McKay's Funeral Home understands that saying goodbye is never easy. That's why we've been providing compassionate and professional funeral services to the community for over a decade. Please contact McKay's Family Mortuary, serving Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties and the High Desert. 3918 Marine Avenue, Lawndale, California. 310-978-8877. That's 310-978-8877. By appointment only or log on to mckaysmortuaries.com.
Get ready for an intimate evening with Life Jennings. Valentine's Night, February 14th at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. Doors open at 7 p.m., showtime 8. Advance tickets start at $65. Life Jennings and special guests. Valentine's night at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. For tickets, call 800-595-4849. For more info, call 323-849-9577 or visit jimsbenefitconcert.org.
Thinking about hosting a podcast and don't know where to start? Morris Media Studios has you covered. We're a professional podcast and voiceover studio located in Lemert Park. We specialize in recording and live streaming audio and video podcasts. Let us help you set up, record, and distribute your podcast. Hosting a podcast is a great way to bring awareness to your business, product, or good cause. For more info, visit morrismediastudios.com or give us a call at 323-815-4204.
KBLA Talk 1580, putting the spotlight on culture and community. The Rodney King Foundation works in the community to promote positive race relations and achieve social justice. The foundation provides advocacy, educational scholarships, and the powerful Walk in Love initiative. The Rodney King Foundation seeks a world of hope, tolerance, and social justice, where divisiveness has been overcome and all people live together peacefully and harmoniously. Executive Director, Founder Laura King is striving to enhance the community's self-esteem, health, social services, and social justice locally and worldwide. The foundation is dedicated to continuing the message of Laura's father, the great Rodney King, to promote peace and #get along. For more information, please visit rodneyking.org or call 626-541-2907. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nobody move, there's blood on the floor. And I can't find my heart. Where did it go? Did I leave it in the cold? So please give it back, 'cause it's not yours to take. It must have fell when I lost my mind. Deep in the cup, drowning in pain. Somebody help, 'cause I can't find my way. Nobody move, nobody move. Somebody tell me how
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. It's Monday, ready to kick it off with a bang. That's Thundercat. The name of the record is Them Changes. Listen, we all been going through them changes. Our relationships are toxic because society is toxic. Our relationship is broken because society is broken. That's the bottom line. We don't have time to blame each other for our expression of that brokenness, for our expression of that toxicity. Most of us are afraid to say no to our partner because we are afraid of losing our partner. True or false? Many of us hate hearing the word no, and many of us don't like saying it either. You might be especially uncomfortable with saying no to your partner. Often, people think that going along with their partner's request will be good for their relationship. To me, that's a fear-based decision, and most of us are in fear. Most of us are in fear in every aspect of our life. Fear is holographic in our life. Holos, whole, grapha, whole writing. The whole story of fear permeates every aspect of our life, whether it's competition in college, competition in high school, whether it's it's everywhere in our life, whether it's competition at work. It's competition in relationship. If you don't do it, somebody else will. There is fear, and wherever there is fear, love is contaminated. Or as Baba Gregory would say, love and fear cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Most of us have dukkha, dissatisfaction in our relationship. Most of us have disappointment in our relationship. And most of us point at our partners as the cause. So yes, saying no has a negative connotation. We're not free enough to be our real selves in a relationship. We are not free enough to say no in a relationship because there is fear we might get some recompense from our partner. They might withhold something we want. Let's not act like withholding isn't a part of it. See, we relate on a toxic level. But to blame sisters for that toxicity is too much. It's us. It's this world. It's the way this society has been constructed. Right? How do you recharge your intimacy battery with your significant other? Well, to recharge your battery means you need space. To charge your battery means you need to take yourself out of the space, dukkha, meaning bad space, and get some sukha, good space, so you can recharge your intimacy battery. How many of you just go along to get along? How many of you just tolerate until you can't tolerate no more? When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. We're on fire tonight.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden wants to end 2 emergencies related to the COVID-19 pandemic on May 11th. The White House informed Congress that both the national emergency and public health emergency will come to a close, ending most of the COVID relief money. A second Memphis officer involved in the Tyree Nichols traffic stop has been relieved of duty. On Monday, Memphis police said an unidentified officer and police officer, Preston Hemphill, were relieved of duty while the investigation continues. Super Bowl 57 is the first time in history that 2 black starting quarterbacks will face off against each other. Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs and Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles will go to battle on February 12th. This will be Mahomes' 3rd time in the Super Bowl and Hurts' 1st. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Island from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the Accident Guys to speak with a real expert attorney for a free consultation.
Hi, this is Tavis.
Tavis, this is Dr. K. We've got a lot to talk about. I'll be in town on the 28th of February. Can you clear your calendar?
Absolutely, Dr. King. Good Lord, do I have some questions for you, sir. Hi, it's Tavis.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. This is Minister Malcolm. Now, I heard that you and Martin are getting together for a public dialogue on February 28th. You see, now I already know the date. Now, I know y'all not trying to keep me out of that conversation, are you?
No, sir. No, sir.
What happened to George Floyd shouldn't happen, not even to a dog. How long must the Negro continue to endure this foolishness at the hands of law enforcement? People can take but so much before they reach a breaking point.
What do you mean, Black Lives Matter? Black lives haven't mattered in this country since Negroes stopped working for free at the end of slavery. You ought to be talking about Black Guns Matter and start your own NRA. Call it the Negro Revolutionary Amalgamation.
Don't miss this compelling historic radio event, The Return. when Tavis Smiley converses with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. Tuesday, February 28th, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that when we fight, we win. Community Coalition trains activists and organizers in order to support power building with Black, Brown, Indigenous, and people of color. Community Coalition works to help transform the social and economic conditions in South LA that foster addiction, crime, violence, and poverty by building a community institution that involves thousands in creating, influencing, and changing public policy. Founded by Karen Bass in 1990, Community Coalition was born as an African American and Latino organization with the goal of turning hopelessness and despair into action. The activism of the Community Coalition's members and community residents has almost solely stimulated economic recovery in South LA for decades, generating billions of dollars by redirecting them to South LA schools and foster care. In addition, Community Coalition offers amazing mind, body, soul resources, advocacy, and policy work, and has a robust and active membership body. To become a member, get a referral, or get support for your nonprofit, visit cocosouthla.org. That's cocosouthla.org, or call 323-750-9087. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Wendy's knows cold and soggy fries are the worst.
So soggy.
That's why we're serving up hot and crispy fries all day, every day.
And all night until close.
With natural cut potatoes, sea salted to perfection.
Show me that potato skin.
Wendy's hot and crispy aren't like other fries. We're your dream fry. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's hot and crispy fries.
Guaranteed to be hot and crispy. If yours aren't, bring them back and we'll replace them.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I knew you when I had a friend. Very deeply, love lived within. But somehow we got loose from what was oh so tight. Somewhere we went wrong when we were oh so right. What's a man to do when he just can't take no more? What's a man? What am I to do when my heart beats me to the door? Now I've tried and tried again, but now this is the end. Tell me what's the use of holding on if we can't be friends? I'm emotional and I can't. I am trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold on. Though it hurts me so. Gotta let you know that the love we once shared now say goodbye. You seem to hurt.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Voice of Reason and his playlist back in the building, as you know. My playlist is my co-host. That's Emotional by Carl Thomas, using the classic Sting Shape of My Heart sample that Nas also used Man, that's a great record, man. Emotional by Carl Thomas. During the the bad boy heyday, man, it's a powerful record, and it speaks to our topic tonight. Many of us are emotional when it's time for us to tell our partner no. I think many of us would prefer to omit or just keep quiet and not say anything, not even deal with it, just avoid having to tell them no, so so they won't upset their partner. How many of you guys are guilty of that? The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. The phone lines are cracking. Let's go to Denver, Colorado. Callie Soul is in the building. Callie, talk to us.
Peace, family. I'm over here cooking, but I felt like you was on your Teddy P. I felt like you hollered at me right quick.
Turn them off.
Turn them off. Get on the phone line. So here I am. Tonight's topic is fire, and last week was amazing. I finally got to catch up. Thank you for being willing to have courageous conversations in such an eloquent way and not judging people, but just holding space. It's really a blessing that we have you, here for this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And in regards to tonight's topic, no is a complete sentence. We often forget that.
Tell them now.
Yeah, it's a complete sentence. And oftentimes we don't realize saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. Like, you can't always be willing to pimp yourself out and, just go with the flow. I'm a Pisces, so we tend to be the world's doormats. So we're famous for saying yes, 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 sure, I got you. What do you need? But your give a darn has to get busted, and you have to love yourself enough to say no.
But you know what's interesting? Can we go deeper into it? Why
Sure.
is this negative connotation around the word no? We live in a society that's competitive, that's combative, that's toxic, that's territorial, that has ownership concepts wrapped around relationships. So I think a lot of times people are just simply afraid to lose what they have. This is a win today, lose tomorrow kind of culture. So can you talk a little bit about why someone would be afraid to just be honest? Is there space enough to be your true self in relationships?
I think there's always space to be your true self. Oftentimes we think that it's the other person that's not allowing us to be our true selves, but it's you. It's me. I remember being married and thinking I needed to basically dance, and do all the things that my husband wanted and all this stuff. And then once we, separated and divorced and all of that, he was like, nah, I married you because of who you were when I met you, Like, I didn't need you to change for me. But in my mind, I got in my own thoughts like Pisces do, or like people do, like we do as humans. And I, was trying to acquiesce to what script I had in my back pocket of what I thought he needed me to be. And that just wasn't it.
That wasn't it. Yeah, there's no template.
Yeah, we'd be afraid.
Man, there's really no template, man. It's a very deep conversation. Let me ask you this. Did you hear Jason Whitlock's words about how, we're basically a fatherless society, and, these police officers are behaving in much the same way as single-parented or single mother-raised children? What are your thoughts about that? Because it looks like, and it feels like he just attacked the black woman for being who she is with the circumstance she was given. Talk to me.
Of course he did, because he's using white supremacy talking points. He's been taught that in order to secure what he thinks is his seat at the table. And society is always quick to jump on black folks and the black woman especially. But I think what he forgot is Reaganomics in the first place. Like, they introduced crack cocaine into the hoods, and that, sent us into a tizzy. It removed the fathers from homes, and then you had the government come in and offer help to the women only under the pretense that they keep the man out the house. So that broke the family up. And then they come back, and it's like, okay, well, if y'all want to make it, especially black men, then you better join the military. And the military, that's a mind training machine.
So wait,
you know, they
this is deep.
retraining.
Callie, you are really cooking. This is deep. So are you telling me that maybe black men have felt betrayed by sisters because the government, which is really the reason why we're toxic? Let's just be honest. If you look at all of the stuff the government has done to black folk, from slavery to Jim Crow to redlining to Tuskegee, we could just keep naming stuff.
Right.
So if that very same government comes in and offers support to the sister, so long as she divests from the black man, does the black man have in the back mind that she's a co-conspirator now?
Absolutely. And we got to become double agents. You know the term Hegelian dialectic, right?
Yes. Create
present
the problem, then give
Yes.
the solution as Captain Hero. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yes,
You're cooking.
come on. You know, so what they done did is they done created a problem, and then they like dangle the carrot of the solution, and then the people are desperate for the solution, so they're going to go for the solution by any means necessary. If they've got the appearance of suffering, they like, give me that carrot. That carrot is the welfare system, military, even gangs, even dealing drugs. It's like, how do we get out? How do we get ahead? Folks is robbing folks now, robbing one another. These guys that did this, you know, like they sitting up doing what they think that they should do to secure their seat at the table. Oftentimes, as the people, the community, when we get to doing a little bit better, we want to look down our nose at the folks that are in quote unquote beneath us in a social class. So it's like to them guys, that young man was like a roach that needed to be stomped out, because to them, he's, you know, a part of the problem of why folks look at black folks the way they do. But I'm like, we gotta forget about what everybody else thinks about us. We have to come back together. We have to love one another. We got to do the work to heal one another.
Wow.
Heal ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Callie Soul from Denver, Colorado. Callie, stay with me. I want you to give them your final thoughts, your summation of tonight's topic. When we come forward, Callie's got a lot to talk about.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Reports show that black California teens are searched 6 times more than their white peers. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. The California Racial and Identity Profiling Advisory Board released its annual report on policing in December. It revealed that people who are perceived as black were searched at 2.2 times the rate of people appearing as white. Additionally, law enforcement officers in the state searched a total of 6,622 more people perceived as black than those perceived as white. Also of note, those perceived to be black adolescents between 15 and 17 were searched at nearly 6 times the rate of those perceived as white youth. For more on criminal justice data, members of the public are encouraged to visit Open Justice, a California Department of Justice data-driven public initiative that works to increase access to criminal justice data and support the development of public policy. I'm Maisha Cairo, and that is your K-Black Minute News.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tavis.
Tavis, this is Dr. King. We've got a lot to talk about. I'll be in town on the 28th of February. Can you clear your calendar?
Absolutely, Dr. King. Good Lord, do I have some questions for you, sir. Hi, it's Tavis.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. This is Minister Malcolm. Now, I heard heard that you and Martin are getting together for a public dialogue on February 28th. You see, now I already know the date. Now, I know y'all not trying to keep me out of that conversation, are you?
No, sir. No, sir.
What happened to George Floyd shouldn't happen, not even to a dog. How long must the Negro continue to endure this foolishness at the hands of law enforcement? People can take but so much before they reach a breaking point.
What do you mean, Black Lives Matter? Black lives haven't mattered in this country since Negroes stopped working for free at the end of slavery. You ought to be talking about Black Guns Matter and start your own NRA. Call it the Negro Revolutionary Amalgamation.
Don't miss this compelling historic radio event, The Return. When Tavis Smiley converses with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. Tuesday, February 28th, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is growing at a phenomenal pace, and we need to enlarge our territory. We are seeking smart, creative solution providers to join the KBLA delegation and go higher with us. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our team as a brand manager, go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Tap on employment opportunities and let us hear from you. We're not looking for everybody or just anybody, but you could be that special somebody. Come grow with us. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Sit back and chill. Yeah. Just give me a second and let me tell you how I feel. It's all around town, you've been stepping out, running your mouth about what make you think I wouldn't find out. Wasn't I there for you, truly cared for you? Maybe my love was just too much. Could've had a good night, love is gone. Now it's back to your head with the 5411 on. Does he lace you with the fine? Does he make you wanna scream his name? Does he hit it from the front to back? Did you let him break it down like that? Should've told me the love was gone. Told me, baby. Never thought that you did it wrong. But I thought this love was strong. Till I saw you in the no more shopping sprees, no more late night creeps, no more VIP, no more dough. We can't even kick it. No more shopping sprees, no more late night creeps, no more VIP.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason back in the building. Sister Callie Soul, man. She was cooking, man. But let me give you a couple of tips, man. Sometimes you gotta say no. Sometimes you gotta say no. Sometimes you gotta say no. You gotta find a respectful way to say no. Sometimes, as Callie Soul pointed out, saying no is for your benefit. And if you got a person who cares about you, if you got a person who is really interested in you and loves you, they're going to make sure that they get out of the way so you can have some of your own space. And let me just say this. Instead of just being blatant, no, I don't want to do it, no. Instead of being condescending with your words. Your woman asks you to go somewhere, asks you to come with her somewhere. Sometimes it's, hey, I just won't be able to make it. And she says, why? Sometimes you can say, you know, to be honest with you, I'm just not feeling it for me personally. If this is any other time, maybe I would go with you. But right now, I just don't want to go. You know, I just don't feel like going. Now, if your woman says the same thing when you asked her to go somewhere and she responds in the same way, I mean, oftentimes, you know, men might try to convince, just like a woman might try to convince. But we have to be able to acknowledge when somebody says, I'm not in the space. I'm not in the zone to want to be out and about. We have to offer each other that grace. That's a form of grace too, right? What if she asks you to do something or he asks you to do something and you say, unfortunately, I'm just not at capacity, right? I'm just not at capacity. I'm burnt out right now. Sometimes that's got to be enough, right? Or she asks you to participate in some event that she's planning. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to have to pass on that project. I just don't have the mental or the emotional reserves to be able to just focus and give you my best. Like I said, man, no, in a lot of cases is like a curse word in relationships. Callie, get in here.
We black?
Yeah. You back? We heard you cooking, so I had to talk for a little bit while you were slamming those pots around. So now that you're back, talk to us.
I'll tell you a quick story, if you allow me. Will you allow me?
Yeah, you got a couple minutes, so go ahead.
Okay. Recently, I broke up with my partner, but we still hang out and we communicate because we communicate easy. It's a beautiful friendship. And we were hanging out a couple weeks ago, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to come back to your house, and, we're going to hang out for real. And I was like, oh, no, we're not, because I had that conversation. And in that moment, the most funniest thing that's happened to me in all of dating history, he said, well, you get the hell out of my car so I can go find me some. Wow. And in that moment, you're right? Yeah. But I had to not be afraid to say no, because I was like, right now, this isn't going to support my spiritual health. Now, in my 20s and 30s, stuff like that would have been easy for me to be, dipping in a previous lover's vat. But at this point in my life, I'm like, that's not spiritually productive for me. I'm not going to be able to do that. I love you. I enjoy you, but I don't want to connect with you like that anymore. This relationship has to transform.
How did he take the no? I want to know. How did he take that no?
The no was, get the hell out my car so that I can go and get me some. You heard what I said. And I laughed. In the moment, I was taken aback. But what I did, because I knew that I had made my decision for myself, I went on ahead and hopped out the car, and I was like, I'll holler at you later. Let me move out your way so you can go get you some, But we can't be afraid to say no. And what we need to say no to right now as a community is this whole divestment movement. That's not going to help us. We got to say no to that. And there is a lot of healing to do. And sometimes it does get frustrating, and it does seem easier to want to give up. But these white folks are out here leading, with the dangly carrots too.
Right.
But it's easy. Listen, to lock you up in their little menagerie.
But look, it's easy for us to break up with each other. It's harder for us to break up with white sky daddy who writes the check, who funds the project, who changes your life. Just be honest.
We better do it though.
Can we be honest? Like, we look at each other like you don't have the power to transform my life. But if this white man from Apple or some big company somewhere, he could change my life. It's easier for me to divest from you than it is for me to divest from this system, from the toxicity that comes with it. That's a better deal than being with you.
Again, Hegelian dialectic. These folks know that folks is out here thirsty and hungry. So they'll dangle that carrot in front of you. I had a white dude last week up in the mountains led with, hey, I'm sitting on 5 acres, I'm single, and da-da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop. And I'm like, if you don't get up out my face, like, I don't want anything that you have. You're not about to lock me up in your little ranch. Get out of here.
Your ranch.
But, folks think that that's all we're driven by is like what we can gain monetarily. And we got to turn away from that.
Wow. Well, let me just say.
Easier said than done.
Callie, I love you for talking to us while you making dinner. We appreciate the conversation. You brought Denver, Colorado in the building. If you want to
Right
bring
on,
your
brother.
city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. I want to talk to you. Let me know what you think about tonight's topic. Fred from Northridge, California, get in here.
Okay, Joe, how you doing?
I'm alive and well, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I'm gonna go back to your the first comment you made about your father in Tennessee, a great grandfather in Tennessee,
Just grandfather, sir.
grandfather. Okay.
Yeah.
In that era, that man was stepped on every single day. He was resented for even existing every single day, and he was powerless. And he was a bit of a coward because he took it out on the ones he loved rather than on his enemy.
Keep going.
You see, he hadn't seen the example. What was the singer who said "strange fruit"?
Yeah.
He had seen his friends, his family being strong, and we easy for us to say, "Oh man, I wouldn't have let that happen," but we would have let it happen. We let the police do it every day.
Ooh, Freddie. Come on, Freddie.
You understand what I'm saying? So he struck out, and maybe he took his anger and his cowardice. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Don't nobody wanna deep down realize he's a coward every day. A coward dies 1,000 deaths, don't he? You understand what I'm saying? So, the bitterness that was in him, I mean, maybe he lashed out. I can't make excuses. Like I said in my thing, I can only make excuses because I can't make no reasons for it.
There you go. Freddie, do me a favor.
Yes.
Hold tight. We got to come forward. When we come forward, I'm going back to Fred from Northridge, California. He just called my granddaddy a coward. He's got a lot to talk about.
Oh, did you let him break it down like that? Should've told me the love was gone. Never thought that you did me wrong. Girl, I thought that this love was strong. Baby, saw you in the no more late night creeps, no more VIP, no more
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information